Welcome into Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jayson. I hope all of you are having a very good weekend. On the eve of Thanksgiving, in advance, happy Thanksgiving to you. If you decide to party tonight, have a great time and enjoy your time with your friends and family. We're diving in to some Boston Celtics trade rumors, and I do want to start off the show by taking a look at this trade idea that was thrown out there by Fansided, and I think it could kind of help both parties. A Spurs team that has really been mediocre for a long time. I think they should hit the rebuild button, reset button, and try to kind of reorchestrate that roster a little bit. And the Boston Celtics, on the other hand, a win-now team with two of the top young players in the league at the wing spots with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, do have some holes on that roster, and could bring in some players to help them in areas of need, like shooting. That's where this trade comes into play. So Fansided with this trade idea, the Celtics would receive Bryn Forbes from the San Antonio Spurs, as well as a 2022 second-round pick, and the San Antonio Spurs would receive two young players on the Celtics roster, Payton Pritchard and Nesmith. I'm higher on Pritchard than I am Nesmith, although I do think there is a little bit of ability there and potential with Nesmith. So it's always hard to part ways with young players who you invested a lot in and see potential in as well. But with Bryn Forbes, I think he'd be able to make an immediate impact on this Celtics team. He signed an NBA free agency with the San Antonio Spurs after a really nice season with the Milwaukee Bucks last year, really helped them in moments throughout the regular season as well as the playoffs, as a guy who could really go on a heater from deep and be that flamethrower off the bench who can knock down some threes from time to time. And I thought that he was going to have a pretty big role with San Antonio. Here's the deal. He's not. He's only averaging 12 minutes per game on a team that doesn't have a lot of talented players, and he's averaging a little less than 5 points per, field goal percentage hovering around 41%, 40% from distance, which is of course solid, but his free throw numbers down as well, which I really think has to do with him just not being able to find a rhythm. And I think if he were to be traded to the Boston Celtics, he'd be able to find that rhythm because they need a shooter like him to come in off the bench, because this is a roster that is bereft of that. Now, he has a $4.5 million cap hit for this upcoming season, 2021 and 2022, which is really, really affordable considering what you'd be giving away with Payton Pritchard and Nesmith, and he'd be entering free agency this upcoming offseason. So, yes, you lose the affordable contracts in Pritchard and Nesmith, and they are under contract longer than Forbes is, but if Forbes ends up exceeding expectations or maybe even surpassing them, you bring him back. And he's a role player, folks. He's not going to demand a bunch of money out there on the open market. So a little bit of a buy low, maybe get some nice nights from Bryn Forbes. I'd explore it at least a little bit. What would you do? Who would win this trade? Type C for the Celtics, type S for the Spurs. It all kind of depends on how Bryn Forbes would play, but let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section right now. Let's shift our focus to Jayson Tatum right now. And if you've been following and subscribing to this channel for a long time, you already know my thoughts about JT. I think his growth has been fabulous. I think his game is absolutely superb since he came into the league. He has been in the lab, and he has done the necessary things to really become a superstar in this league. I'd make the argument on some nights he's a top 10 player. On others, he's on the cusp of being a top 10 guy. And his numbers this year, a little bit lower than last year, but still, you're looking at one of the best marquee young superstars in the NBA. Almost 26 points per, 8.5 boards. The field goal percentage and three-point numbers are down, no doubt, 41.2 and 33.3. But Jayson Tatum is a walking bucket. And every single night, you know that Jayson Tatum is going to be able to come through in the scoring column. Now, there has been a Jekyll and Hyde factor with Tatum this year, because on some nights he's been hot, other nights he's been cold. But really, you can't find many better young pieces in the NBA right now than Jayson Tatum. But for some reason, the last 2 years, the Celtics have been unable to find their footing. And this year, they're off to a similar start that they were last year. 10-8. There have been nights where they've been really frustrating to watch because they've been really, really inconsistent. And I've been trying to find a solution to why the Celtics have been out to these sluggish starts and why some nights they look good, other nights they look bad. And right now and last year, they haven't looked like a team in the East primed to make a deep playoff run. And I thought this quote on ESPN from an Eastern Conference coach, of course anonymous by the way, was pretty telling, interesting, worth talking about. I'm not sure if I'm buying stock into it. Did want to pass it along though to get your thoughts. So Eastern Conference coach said this about JT. Jayson Tatum is about Jayson Tatum. I don't think he cares about winning now, and if he does, it's on his own terms. He doesn't want to score 15 and win. He wants to score 39 points and win. Every team knows we're trying to go to Jayson and Jaylen. This came from Marcus Smart, who spoke a couple weeks ago about the Celtics' struggles. Every team knows we're trying to go to Jayson and Jaylen. Every team is programmed and studied to stop Jayson and Jaylen. I think everybody's scouting report is to make those guys pass the ball, but they don't want to pass the ball. Tatum's progression, in my opinion, really speaks volumes about who he is as a player, how he cares about the game of basketball, and how he carries himself as an individual. So to say that Jayson Tatum is all about JT, I'm not sure if I buy stock into that, but I am a little bit confused and confounded as to why the Celtics, with some of the talent on this team, Jayson Tatum as good as he is, Jaylen Brown as elite as he is, why they've been just an average team. So that's why I wanted to bring that quote up, and it's from an Eastern Conference coach who might have some intel into the Celtics. Now, of course, when these things come out and when these things are said, you don't think and know that every time that they're going to be an honest, kind of assumption as to, what's going on with the organization as well as JT. But I do want to ask you if you think that Tatum is selfish, and if you believe that this report and this quote from this Eastern Conference coach is true. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Be sure to get your votes in the comments section. If you're new to us here at Chat Sports, we love our audience interaction, so flood it down below. If you like what we do here on Boston Celtics Today, you probably will really like what we do on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, covering the NBA. And we cover the league all year round. Hashtag this league. NBA draft coverage, NBA free agency, NBA playoffs, NBA regular season. Honestly, we cover this league all year round. So subscribe if you want more NBA general content by going to youtube.com/chatsportstv and get us to 270,000 subscribers. Next up on the show, Paul Pierce. He spoke recently. He really, really wants to see Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown continue to stay together and work with harmony on the basketball court. He doesn't want to see one of these guys traded because there have been some rumors and some rumblings about maybe needing to trade one of those guys away so that the Celtics could really go all in on one guy to stop being a mediocre basketball team. Paul Pierce, one of the all-time greats, one of the best Celtics players ever, saying this about JT and JB. I never believe that it's right to separate star players. I truly believe it's about putting the right pieces around your great players. They've proven that they can be all-stars in this league. In order to win in the NBA, you have to have star talent around the perimeter. That's what the Celtics have, and that's something you need to build around. My theory proves right, because when you look at all the top players and all the finals MVPs year in and year out, who are you looking at? Top-tier perimeter guys like Kawhi Leonard, like Kobe Bryant, like Kevin Durant, the LeBron Jameses of the world. These are guys that lead their teams to championships. You need to have those types of players. The Celtics have to find a way to build around those guys so that they can reach the next level. I am totally in agreement with everything that Paul Pierce said on multiple levels. One, you got to keep JT and JB together. And you have to see if this can work, because if it does, it can be an elite 1-2 punch. And in the NBA bubble, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, so that's a sample size of them making it deep into the playoffs. Also, when you look at the past winners who have hoisted the Larry O'Brien trophy, almost all of the star players on those teams are wing guys or guards. Celtics have two of them, and they're both very young, in their mid-20s, with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I think he's right in that regard as well. Keep these guys together and see if they can work it out. And maybe after another year or two, if these frustrating and maddening seasons continue to happen, then that's when you look to deal one of those guys away, maybe for another star. But right now, Paul Pierce is right, and I agree with him on that sentiment. Do you think the JT and JB combo can work out? Let me know right now before we get out of here. Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Once again, get those votes in the comments section. And thanks for watching Boston Celtics Today. Make sure you subscribe.